Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Dainty Abby. So I was watching Painted by Spencer, and he's this amazingly talented pro makeup artist on Instagram, and I think he recently transferred over to YouTube. So I was watching one of his videos and he created this bold editorial makeup look using this model. And I was watching the video and I noticed that the model has similar face shape as me, like her bone structure wise, her overall face shape, very similar to mine. Since I'm trying to perfect my makeup skills, I figured why not follow this makeup tutorial and pick up some tips and tricks. Alright.
To start off, I'm using the Dewy Skin Cream from Tatcha.
So he's starting off with a Dewy Skin Cream by Tatcha, which I don't own. So I am just going to use Hourglass Primer. So I'm just going to apply that all over my face. And I'm going to use my Beauty Blender to blend that in, because I think that's what he's doing.
I put this on the back of my hand, I warm it up with the Beauty Blender, and then I apply it to the skin. And of course I bring it down the neck and the chest and everywhere and anywhere that we're going to be applying.
I'm obviously going to follow that.
Foundation or any other products. I leave this on for about 5 to 10 minutes before I put any other product.
So he's going to wait 5 to 10 minutes before he applies other products.
Using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Contour Kit. This is in the deep shade. I'm mixing.
So unfortunately I don't own Anastasia's contour kit. So I'm just going to use the color Cool Earth in Stick Foundation and contour my face.
Kit. This is in the deep shade. I'm mixing together a couple of those contour colors to create the perfect contour shade for our model.
And I'm going to be placing this product along the perimeter of the face, including the hollows of the cheeks, underneath the jawline, even underneath the lip, and of course the sides of the nose.
So I noticed he's placing this contour pretty heavily, and I think that's because this is going to be like the base. This is my first time using this technique, so I'm kind of nervous.
I usually apply my foundation first, and then I go on top with the cream contour and highlights.
That's what I do.
I decided to do the cream contour first today because I knew I really wanted a full glam effect. I know it's not going to get washed
Look,
out.
I applied too much. That's funny.
To color correct, I'm going to use that Peachy Coral Cream in the same Anastasia.
I'm just going to use the LA Girl Pro Concealer in the color Orange.
My rule of thumb is the deeper the skin tone and the brighter you want to go with your highlight,
the warmer you're going to want your color corrector to be. And this will prevent there from being any gray undertones in your makeup.
Once I've applied this cream to all the areas that I want to color correct, I'm going to move on into foundation. Today I'm using the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made Foundation.
He's using a drugstore foundation, so I'm going to use L'Oreal True Match in the color N8 and also N9, mix that up and use it as my foundation. And since he's using a brush to apply this foundation, I am going to do the same.
Favorite drugstore
and he's
foundation.
Kind of like feathering.
Now, contrary
not
to what it
heavily
says,
applying.
It's not the most matte foundation. It's more of a satin finish, but it is a medium to full coverage foundation.
It blends really beautifully, and it's got to be in my top 3 favorite drugstore foundations. I keep these in my kit all the time, and you can probably also see that I'm not being the most precise with the application so far. Right now, my goal is just to get the product.
I feel like the contour is kind of disappearing, but we'll see how this is going to end up.
Right now, my goal is just to get the product on the face, and then we'll work out the details as we progress. To conceal, I'm using the Born This Way multi-use.
I just noticed he didn't really apply the foundation where he color corrected.
2 different shades. They're the shades Vanilla and Butterscotch. While I love the brightness of Vanilla, I needed a little bit of the warmth from Butterscotch. So I mixed the 2 on the back of my hand.
Following your bottom lash line directly outwards, and that's an almost guarantee of a perfect placement.
And usually for my forehead highlights, I don't go this big, but like that. And then I'm going to use a brush to kind of fan out.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. You're thinking, Spence, do you realize that her foundation, her face is about 1 to 2 shades darker than her chest? I promise you, I'm fully aware.
This is done strategically, especially when my model is working in front of really bright lights, and I'm going to be using a really bright concealer on top of the foundation.
He goes really fast, okay guys? So he moved on to Beauty Blender once again, and he's blending that into her skin, so her concealer. So my concealer is looking like this. And I promise you, usually I don't apply my concealer like this, ever. But this is going to be interesting.
A really bright concealer on top of the foundation. I usually go a couple shades darker with foundation, and by the time I blend everything together with the concealer, it'll all neutralize and be perfect, I promise.
Okay.
Although, I wasn't prepared for the undertone of this foundation. It looked great in person, but on camera, it had a slight red undertone, which I wasn't too crazy about. I almost decided to start from scratch and wipe everything off, but I figured that I can't be the only one. Makeup is art, and I don't believe in teaching someone how to create art. It's very subjective. I simply just want to share with you my techniques and what's worked for me and what I do to achieve my looks. And if you can take one or two things away from this that work for you, then great. But you'll find that some things work for you and some things don't, and that's okay. I simply just want to share with you.
So I noticed he's also applying the concealer above her brows, which is very interesting. But he did say this is custom tutorial. So let's see. I look so funny. And he's just slightly blending that into her skin, so I'm going to do that.
And it's all coming from a really good, loving place.
Yes. Positivity only.
To set the under eyes, I'm using the Ben Nye Banana powder.
So I don't own a Ben Nye Banana powder, but obviously I have the Sacha Buttercup, which is going to be very handy. So I'm going to use that.
I'm using something that has that really rich yellow base to it, so that way it brings that yellow undertone back to life in her face.
Okay.
The same is going to go for the face powder. I'm using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder.
Oh gosh, he goes so fast, man. He goes so fast. And not just because he has edited the video, obviously. He talks so fast, man.
Face powder. I'm using the Huda Beauty Easy Bake Powder in the shade Blondie. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this powder with a large fluffy face brush.
So he's applying Huda Beauty's Blondie powder, but I don't have that. So I'm just going to apply Fenty Beauty setting powder in the color, what is this? Nutmeg. And it's this cocoa color. But I think for my skin tone, it's going to work. It Cosmetics Heavenly Luxe Jumbo Powder Brush.
Fluffy
he's tapping
brush.
it onto her skin,
so
that's what
I'm
I'm
going to
doing.
go in with a powder puff and really press that powder into the skin. That's a little trick of mine. It's what gives me that really flawless airbrushed look to the skin, especially.
First, apply the powder using a fluffy brush, and then go over it with a powder puff. Powder puff, is it what it's called? Powder puff. I think I own that, and that's what it gives you that airbrush look. Oh gosh, it's coming out blotchy. Lord, fix this. Oh. So I'm pressing the product into my skin.
With this powder contour kit by Anastasia Beverly Hills, I'm going to further emphasize all the areas that we had previously.
Another item I don't own. So I'm going to use my Sephora Mocha Java 70 face powder. I'm going to use this as my contour color, and I'm using this brush. And he's set to go over where the contour was first placed. So I can still see that, which is great. Wow. I can see the contour, especially heavy here. Clearly I didn't blend it well enough. But that's okay. We're going to go over it with the powder.
I know, it's been around forever, but it's still one of my go-tos for face palettes. I love it. It's incredible.
I think I should get that
the formula.
palette.
I love the shades. It's definitely an A+ in my books. And I'll be listing all of these products this time down in the description bar below. And also, side note, now that I've started YouTube and I'm doing these makeovers, I'm needing models. I feel kind of silly asking, but if anyone wants...
Honestly, I wish I could become his model, but I live in Canada. I'm pretty sure he lives in US, so. Honestly, contouring is very hard for me. One aspect of makeup that I'm trying to perfect as well. It's very hard. Oh, that went straight.
At this point, I'm taking those same shades from the powder contour palette and I'm putting it right up underneath the eyebrows. and this will give me that really love.
Wow.
And then of course I take it down the sides of the nose and underneath the lip just to make that lower lip a little bit more plump.
And he said to take it down the sides of your nose. So I'm going to do that. Like, nose contour is so tricky. Like, it's not coming out as perfect as I want.
Going back in with our Ben Nye banana powder, I'm taking a powder puff and just pinching it at the end to create a more precise application. And I'm beginning to bake underneath the eyes. Same rule of thumb from earlier. I'm just
okay, so we're going back. We're going back.
Outwards. I know I've said it before, but when it comes down to baking and highlighting,
he's using the puff, not the beauty blender.
Everyone's
Following that lash line up and outwards. I know I've said it before, but when it comes down to baking and highlighting and contouring, everyone's face is different. So what might work for our model, Milena, here may not work for you, and vice versa. So I think I should maybe one of these days create a video on how
to
Yes,
bake
please.
and contour for different face shapes. If you guys want to see something like that, let me know. And I think that would be kind of fun. Now that I'm going to apply this Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask to her lips, so that way later on when we apply lipstick, they're moisturized.
So I don't own that lip, whatever product he was using. So I'm going to apply the Nivea Essential, just the lip balm on my lips.
And then I'm going to start the brow process. I'm using this Brow Wiz in the shade Soft Brown by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm slowly going to start building up this brow to
So
get
my
to the
hair
thickness
is
and density that I
jet
want it.
black, but I only have my brow pencil in dark brown, so I'm just going to have to wing it.
So I wanted to keep the brows a bit on the thinner side. I didn't want to go overboard
so thinner
with this
side.
really fluffy, full brow that's really in style right now. I really wanted to keep it clean and simple, but yet
Clean and
dark enough
simple
so
is
that
what
it
I'm
matches
trying
her
to do
hair.
right now.
I've been using these brow.
I'm just going to elongate my tails just a little bit. And we're leveling up during this quarantine, so I think it looks nice though. Wow. Like, it's not Instagram brows obviously, but it's soft and it's just so realistic.
With a smaller detail brush, I am connecting the nose contour with the eyebrow with a little bit of that contour powder.
Okay, so we're going to use a smaller brush to connect the brows with the contour powder that we applied. I'm just going to go over my brow just to pick up the product just a little bit and then connect it. Right? Is that what he said? Like, clearly he's a pro, because like, who comes up with this?
To start the eye look, we're using a Lifeliner eyeliner by Huda Beauty, and we're taking the pencil side of this liner and
So we're
placing
moving
it
on
right
to eyes now.
line. And
Recently purchased Tardiest, what do you call it, the double take eyeliner. It has a felt tip and also the eyeliner, so I'm going to take out the eyeliner side. And what is he doing?
you'll see I'm not being too precise with it because we're going to end up blending this out anyways, but this is just the
backdrop per se for the eyeshadows that are to follow. Think of it like contouring, but instead of the face, we're doing it with the eye, and instead of a skin tone or a brown,
Going in
we're
the
using
inner
black.
corners
The black
too.
is what's going to give the eyeshadow that we put on top of it the depth and richness that we want.
Okay, so
I'm
he's
bringing this
going
halfway
over.
up in crease.
He's going up the crease as well. So I just started the corner because he created this wing, and then he went up the crease. But I have hooded eyes, so I'm just gonna go up my crease. Oh, and there's a transfer. Hooded eye problems.
We can add some contrast to the lid and the crease itself, so we can have that illusion that there's a large open eye. It's going to look really beautiful when I'm done. With a
He's fast. Okay, he's very fast.
With an eyeshadow brush, I'm going to start buffing out that liner and smoking it out.
So with my MAC 2 something brush, I'm going to buff the liner, just like he says. I'm going to diffuse that a little bit.
Outwards. I was only going to include a few seconds of this footage.
originally, but then I thought about all the times I've seen tutorials where someone's applying eyeshadow and then in a blink of an eye,
It's
Thank
perfectly
you.
blended out. And
I
I would
hate
be
that too.
so confused because I knew it would take me forever. So instead of
cutting it short, I just thought I'd include all the footage and just speed it up. And
alright guys, I'm having a hard time diffusing this. Like, I guess this formula is very dry. It's not blending out for me, so I'm just going to use a little bit of the black shadow and go over it. And I look scary. I see he's applying a dark blue shadow first.
which is a really deep navy blue, and I'm placing it on top of wherever I place the black liner.
So wherever he placed the black liner, he's going to apply the blue shadow. So I'm using Modern Matte 28 Color by BH Cosmetics, and I'm going to use this shade as my dark blue. Oh my god, what?
Pack on that eyeshadow with a flat blending brush and softly start diffusing the edges. The second shade that we're going to use from the palette that we're going to use for
diffuse the edges. He's using the metallic blue shadow, so I'm going to go into my BH Cosmetics brush and pick up this color, this beautiful cobalt blue color, and I'm going to use my flat brush by MAC. This is what, 239 brush, I'm guessing, and I'm going to spray this with a setting mist. He didn't do that, but just because.
And it's this really rich blue that has a slight metallic finish, which I think is really nice because that right in the center of the lid is going to catch light, which is going to make the contrast even more dramatic. Another bonus to have
is that you're going to have less fallout because the shadows and the pigments have something to grip onto. Once you have those edges diffused, I'm going to take our Huda Beauty pencil again and run that
through the waterline. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take
it back. I look so good! I applied a little bit more of the banana powder underneath my eyes so it catches the fallout. Now that the edges, like the dark edges, is not blown out. So I'm going to add more black shadows and I'm going to blow that out. So off camera, I line my bottom waterline.
With that, I'm going to take it back and reline the upper lid as well. With brush, I'm going to dip back into the shade Deceased, and I'm going to slowly start smoking out the bottom lash line. Is the shade Priceless, and with the detailed blending brush, I'm going to place that right at the brow bone, and this will really help make it pop. And you'll see here how these.
So I'm going to pick up the Flower Child and mix it with the Smarty Pants. I'm going to apply that onto my brow bone, just so it's a little lighter and you guys can see. Oh, there you go.
And with the other side of the Huda Beauty eyeliner, there is a liquid pen, and I'm using that just to trace the upper waterline.
So I already did that, so I won't be doing that.
For mascara today, I am using the
Maybelline New York Snapscara.
And I'm coating both the top and bottom lashes.
The top and bottom lashes.
Once the mascara has dried down, I'm going to apply our false lashes. For lashes, I am using the.
I decided to apply the most fluffiest pair of lashes, and I think it looks really good. Like,
I'm twisting the lash in a circular motion, so that way when I place it on the lid, the edges of the lash really form to the corners of your lashes, lifting throughout the day. So here I'm dipping into the lighter shades in my powder contour palette, and my brushes are so old that the names of them have worn off. I mean, you've probably noticed that the products that I'm using and showing you, they look busted. They look like they've been through it.
He's applying more powder, but this time under the contour. I don't like applying too much of this powder under my contour because it highlights my double chin.
So get this, for lip liner, I'm actually going back in with that cream contour color that we used from the Anastasia Beverly Hills cream contour kit. So just
for lip liner, he's using the contour, cream contour, so I'm going to use the True Earth again lip liner brush, and I'm going to use it as my lip liner, which is interesting actually. Never thought of that before.
I'm placing this directly in the center while diffusing it outwards. Now you guys know I love a glossy lip. The gloss I'm using is from KKW Beauty in the shade Proud of You.
So I find that the KKW Beauty lip gloss he's using is too, it's not my nude, so I will be using MAC lipstick in the color Persistence, because for a brown skin girl this is the right ideal nude lipstick. So I'm going to be applying that. Since I don't have any clear gloss at the moment, I am going to apply a little bit of the Vaseline at the center of my lips. Just not too much. That's something to add a shine.
And then for blush, I'm going in with my Urban Decay Cosmetics Stay Naked Threesome palette.
Again, I don't own that. I'm going to use my e.l.f. Cosmetics blush palette in the color Light, and I'm going to choose this color and just going to follow
what
what
I
he's
use
doing.
this palette for the blush because the blush is that good. It's this beautiful pinky peach shade. It is my current favorite blush. I can't
Get enough of it. I can just drench the cheeks with this. As you can see, I go kind of crazy with it. After that, I go back to my mascara and I really press her natural. To set the face, I'm using Fix Plus from MAC Cosmetics, and I'm being pretty generous with this because we used so many powders on the face.
So I don't know where my Fix Plus went, so I'm just going to use my Morphe. Ooh.
And finally, we're at the last step. I'm going to be using the Cover FX glitter drops in the shade Nova to add some.
For my highlighter, I'm going to use Juvia's Place highlighter in the color Nubia. Ooh, that's a lot. Do that. Just a little bit on her nails.
Glam Goddess.
We took this natural beauty from this and turned her into a glam goddess.
I just finished this look and I am feeling so empowered. Oh, it looks so good. I love it.